Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the channel. Today we have a bit of a different format. We're going to do a versus between the Zenit 12 family of cameras and the Zenit TTL family of cameras. No, this won't be a fight between them because if you crash these two cameras, the world will explode. These are like Nokias, really heavy. So now, when I started in this thing of kind of collecting and buying Zenit cameras, I really wondered what was the difference between the Zenit 12 and the TTL because they look really similar. So today we're going to discuss that from the historical and technical point of view, and I'm going to show you and tell you those differences. So we're going to begin speaking a little about the Zenit 12 family of cameras. This is a Zenit 12 only. But remember that the Zenit 12 family includes the Zenit 12 right here, the Zenit 12 XP and the Zenit 12 SD. So the Zenit 12 family of cameras was manufactured between 1983 and 1994. So this is a posterior design, a posterior model than the TTL, so this is a newer camera, although they overlapped the fabrication of the cameras. The Zenit 12 series of cameras was only constructed in the Krasnogorsk mechanical plant. So all of these cameras were made in Krasnogorsk. They were never made in the Belomo plant in Belarus. Also, the Zenit 12 family of cameras came only in black and with plastic finish or metal finish. This is a metal finish. So that's kind of the historical overview of the Zenit 12. Now, the Zenit TTL we have right here was manufactured between 1976 and 1985. This was the first camera that Zenit made that had a TTL. What TTL means is through the lens. That means the light metering system is the light metering reading comes through the lens inside the camera. The camera has a little computer. It makes the process, the calculations, and it gives you the result. So this is pretty much the first Zenit with electronics in it. The curtain mechanism, the shooter, all of that is still being mechanical, but the light metering system passed to be electrical, I mean with battery powered, and through the lens, as opposed to the old Zenits that had the selenium meter right here. These cameras, the Zenit TTL series, was manufactured both in the KMC plant and the Belomo plant in Belarus, so you can find both of them. This camera was made in less quantity than the Zenit 12. They made 1,632,212 of these cameras. They never came in plastic, they were all metal, but they could have a silver finish on the top and the bottom. So silver and black and full black. This is a full black one. They originally came with a Helios 44M lens, which is a Helios 44 lens, but that included a little knob that allowed you to automatically close the diaphragm on the lens. These cameras also came in Olympic edition, you know, with the Olympic logo right here. And they came, pretty much all of them came in Roman alphabet, the TTL, because that's the through the lens. But some of them had these TTL characters in Russian, and some of them had the Zenit characters in Russian. So that's kind of the technical differences between these two cameras. So this is the first electronic one, the Zenit TTL, and this was the one that follows, the 12 family of cameras. This is an older camera, and we were going to discuss right now the technical things that make them different. So To recapitulate this is the first electronic one, this is the second one, so this is kind of the father and this is the son. This was pretty much the first camera, so some things are not that cool that this model corrected. This is a more scarce camera, this is an older camera generally speaking, and they overlapped the production 2 years, because this one, the TTL, was made from 1976 to 1985, and then the Zenit 12 was made from 1983 to 1994. So they overlapped production during 2 years. And in those years of overlapped production, this camera right here, the Zenit 12, which is an export model, is pretty much identical to the last manufacturer, to the last run of Zenit TTLs. They have this curved body, this style of shutter, but with the 44M. So some kind of a last breath TTL models are pretty much identical to the 12, but the 12 is a kind of better built camera, a bit improved in the construction. We will discuss that later. So let's begin with the cameras. Now, we can see here in the Zenit TTL, the first substantial difference you see is right here in the body. The body of the TTL is straight in this part. This part is fully straight, while in the Zenit 12, 12XP, 12SD cameras, that portion of the body is curved. It has this curve. So that's kind of the first difference. There was a change in the body. Again, remember, some Zenit TTLs, the last production run, also had this curved body. So that's something to have in mind. But some TTLs, the older ones, have this straight body. The second change is the TTL. As you can see, the flash attachment, it doesn't have the it doesn't have the mechanism to shoot it, so you have to connect it in here, while the Zenit 12, 12XP and 12SD do have the automatic mechanism here in the flash. Something that is also different and curious is in the ISO selecting knob. They are inverted. That means that what in the Zenit 12 is the highest position, in the Zenit TTL is the lowest. So ISO 16, ISO 500. If I run it, down there is 16, and up here is 500. So they inverted that for some reason. Also, this is the old style shooting release, the one you have in the Zenit EM, because the Zenit TTL is a Zenit EM with a TTL metering system. So you have this old style of mechanism, but you have the new style of selector. So it's kind of a transitional camera. It mixes a lot of old and new features from Zenit. Now, as you can see, this doesn't have any position or hold open, like in the 12. That was made by the lens that had the little knob. Another old feature the Zenit TTL has is how to open the rear door. It opens like a Zenit E or a Zenit B. You just put this thing up and it opens. The lock is right here, this old style of lock, while in the Zenit 12 cameras, that's missing, and what you do is you simply pull this knob up and it opens. That's another difference between them. Also, the shooting release, as you see, is different. It has this big button that allows you to close the lens and maintain the aperture working, while this one doesn't. Another thing is these knobs, and the Zenit TTL, some of them have the new style of self-timer knobs, other have these old ones, but that could be a difference. Another peculiar difference that many TTLs have is that because of the way the pentaprism and the light metering system is constructed, the visor of the TTL is less bright and kind of with a little blue tint and blue color. That's normal because of the way of the pentaprism and the light metering are built in. I don't know if you maybe can see that in this camera. I'll try to focus that. Okay. Maybe you don't see it that well, but something to have in mind. Okay, there is another detail of the TTL. All the Zenit TTLs include this needle light metering mechanism. That's how it indicates you. There's a plus, there's a minus, there's a circle, and you expose based on the feedback of that needle. Only on the Zenit 12s you have the same mechanism, a needle. However, on the Zenit 12XP, 12SD, that needle mechanism was replaced by 3 or 2 LEDs, depending on some cameras. So that's a difference between the 12XP and the 12SD versus the TTL, but with the 12, the system is the same. And this one has an improved light meter, and that's why the visor is clearer. So if you are going to buy a Zenit TTL and you see through the visor and it's a bit bluish and it's not that bright, it's completely normal from the camera. Another thing that it's different between the TTL cameras is the battery port. The Zenit TTL cameras operate with this weird mushroom battery, and that it's called PX625, something like that. Is this mushroom battery that's really big, while the Zenit 12XP and 12SD utilize LR43, two LR43 batteries that look a bit like this. This is an LR44, but the shape is very similar. However, the Zenit 12, as I mentioned, it's kind of an improved version of the TTL. This is pretty much a last run TTL with little minor changes to make it easier to produce. It uses the same battery than the TTL, and that's a remnant of being pretty much a super modernized TTL. Now, those are pretty much the real differences between the Zenit 12 family of cameras and the Zenit TTL. They are very, very similar. They both have good light metering system. They are pretty much identical in the shooter mechanism and all of that. So if you're going to buy maybe a 12XP, 12SD or a TTL and you know, wait, what's the difference? You kind of now have more information about that. Both cameras are really good. They are really, really similar, again, in construction and in functioning. So if you want kind of the improved version, you could say, go for the 12 families of cameras. If you want to have like the first electronic Zenit, go for the TTL. But again, they are really, really similar cameras. They have the screws for mounting the case in the same place. The cases are really similar. I have them here. This is the Zenit 12 case, and this is the Zenit TTL case. Really, really similar again. So it depends on what you want. If you want kind of a transitional camera, the first camera that has modern and old features combined, go for the TTL. You have this old style of opening, you have the old style body, you have the old style shooter, you have the old style round viewer, you have the old style needle system. and kind of a mixture between the old style features and the new style selector, the new style of lever and counting mechanism. So pretty much a transitional camera between old Zenit features and new Zenit features. If you want that, you can go for this. If you want the Olympic model, you could go for this. If you want the gray version, you can go for this, for the TTL. Bear in mind that because it is an older camera, it can fail suddenly, more easily than the 12XP that is newer. But remember that the last run of production of the Zenit TTL is very, very, very similar to the Zenit 12 alone. So this could look like a Zenit 12. This could be a Zenit TTL, but it is a 12. So the last production of the TTLs is very, very similar to the Zenit 12. So if you want the old features, check very good the body shape, the opening mechanism to buy the old version, not the new one. So which one is better? You could say that the 12XP cameras are better because they are kind of the second camera that Zenit made with the electronic metering system that corrected some of the issues with the original TTLs. But again, the last run of production of TTLs also addressed those problems. So really, it depends on which camera you get and which camera you want. They both work very good. They work excellently. They are very good cameras. So the differences are not that much. They are mainly the years of production and some other features. So they are really similar cameras, not too much to differ. So I hope this video solves that doubt clearly, and I hope you liked this video. I will be posting more videos. I still have to do the review of the TTL. I still have to do the review of the ET. I still have to do the third part of the Photo Sniper. So don't worry, I still have material left to do. And again, I hope this video is useful for you to kind of know which camera you want or what are the differences, and someone asks, hey, what's the difference? They are really the same. You know that kind of, but not really.